for Realtors with Ryan Brown. My name is Michaela, and I will be your moderator. Today, Ryan will be giving you an overview of ShareFile, as well as going into a live product demo so you can see firsthand how our solution works. Quickly, before I hand it over to Ryan, if you have any questions during our presentation today, please type them into the question and answer panel, and we will get to them at the end at our Q&A break. Okay, Ryan, the floor is all yours.
Thanks, Michaela. Again, everybody, my name is Ryan Brown. I just wanted to start this off by thanking you all for taking some time today to talk with ShareFile with us today. I always enjoy doing that. Quick background on me. I actually moved out here to Raleigh, North Carolina to work with Citrix just 3.5 years ago. I know that's not a long time, but I'm the director of the real estate services team here. So I talk to around 5 to 7 different real estate companies a day. So I feel like I have a really good understanding on y'all's workflow and definitely the end goals there. Sort of a loose agenda on what we'll be going over today during this webinar. I've put together a quick presentation on best practices for moving to a cloud-based file sharing system and utilizing it from there. And then, like Michaela said, we will do a live demonstration from that. Any questions that you have along the way, please feel free to shoot from there. So today, really what we're going to cover is the importance of caring how you share. Even though file sharing is typically thought of as a necessary inconvenience, the real estate industry is relying more and more on technology, and firms are creating and using and storing and sharing more information than ever before. So with this being the case, it means offices are increasingly at risk for not only organizational and efficiency issues, but also some really serious security risk. So the focus today is to share some of those best practices with you for implementing a file sharing system to boost, your office's productivity and client confidence. So when you're talking about file sharing and what makes it good, there's 3 things to really focus in on. Most importantly is actually security, and then ease of use and workflow, and being able to put those all into one system so it works best for your business and your clients. So win-win. So focusing on security up front, in today's market, states, 49 out of the 50 states have very, very, very secure, sophisticated consumer privacy laws. But even with these laws and regulations in place over the past 4 years, in California alone, there have been over 50 million records that have been breached. And the average cost of a serious data breach for a business is around $5.5 million. This not only affects your financial status and your reputation, but it puts your clients at risk as well. So having things put in place to protect you from that is very, very important. And believe it or not, some of the most common systems that are used today for file sharing are actually the same systems that lead to the most common types of data breaches. So the California Department of Justice actually put this together recently. It said the 3 most common data breaches are actually, number 1 being breaches caused by personal errors, like misdelivery of an email. So using an email service to exchange sensitive data, is both unsecure and insufficient. So most email services have a file size limitation of 20 megabytes. And if a file needs to go bigger, you're breaking it into multiple pieces, which puts you at even further risk. From there, also just keeping stuff the traditional way on hard copies or on CDs, flash drives, fast. Theft or loss is the second most cause term for data breaches there. So just by simply having your information on a physical device, even though that feels secure because it's in your pocket and you can hold on to it, the moment you lose that is the moment you're at risk. So what a lot of companies have been doing is sort of moving away from that, and they start using what are called freemium services. I'm sure you've heard of them before, like Dropbox, Google Drive, even Microsoft OneDrive. But since these are so cheap and so easy to use, everyone's been using them, and so cyber criminals attack those directly. And because of that, they cause malware and ransomware viruses that can be a very costly and long, drawn-out ordeal that really, really can affect your business. So with that in mind, you're looking to have a system that is not only secure, but easy to use. That's why people move to those freemium services. So you need to be able to access your files from anywhere you are. So whether that means being able to access those, on a desktop app, on a mobile phone, or being able to work on a program from anywhere, you need to be able to tackle a challenge or have a question a client might have at a drop of a dime. So when you're thinking about this and moving to a cloud-based system like this, a lot of people are worried about that change. So the other thing that you need is support from the system that you're moving to. So having customized onboarding is key here. Look for a service that's going to work with you one-on-one so you can learn how to use the tool and really learn how it's going to benefit you the most. And these trainings are not only important for you, but also really important for your staff. So being able to implement a tool company-wide is very, very important by having help by doing that through there. Plus, the system shouldn't just be a tool that was put out there by anybody. This should be a tool that you've put into place. So having custom branded, having access when you need it, and a system that looks like you've put into place really, really goes a long way and adds and builds confidence to your clients. So that's basically, when you're talking about the best practices of file sharing in the cloud, those are some key things to go over there. Now, on top of that, we'll go ahead and jump into the demonstration. My contact information is right here. I just realized that blue might be hard to read. So it is ryan.brown@citrix.com. If you have any questions now or later, please go ahead and shoot me an email or give me a call at the number below. Now, introducing you to ShareFile, essentially what it is a customized URL address. So it could be like naiglobal.sharefile.com. Mine's ryanbrown.sharefile.com. And you can see here, we do custom brand this with your logo. So anytime you are sending anything out for signature, you're sharing a large file with somebody, this is going to look like an extension of your business. Now, anybody that you want to have accessing this just uses their own email address and whatever password they've created. Basically, what ShareFile is a 3-in-1 tool. It's a file sharing system, it's an electronic signature system, and it's a remote access tool built into one system. And in here, the backbone of it is a centralized, secure, limitless repository. So you can put as much information on here as you'd like. You will never run out of space or hear a peep out of us. Plus, we're going to keep all of your information fully encrypted at 256 bits, as well as backed up 3 times redundantly on our triple redundant servers located across the United States. Now, because of the way we do our redundancy and our encryption, we are compliant with all major state and federal regulations, including CFPB, FINRA, SEC. We are even HIPAA compliant. This also protects against ransomware and malware viruses. If you were to be affected by one of those, we can actually go in, delete the file that was affected by it, restore a redundant copy that we have, and it becomes like a 2-minute process instead of a long, drawn-out, costly ordeal. Now, once you're inside of ShareFile, you can set up folders to be used both internally and externally for file sharing and communication. But just because you've given access to one folder to somebody doesn't mean they're going to have access to everything else. Every folder inside of here is set up on full granular permissions and controls. So if you don't want somebody to see something, whether it's a parent folder, a subfolder, or a sub-subfolder, you can control that through here. So if you do want them to have access, whether you want them to be able to download or upload information inside of there, you can control that. Or a very common problem with freemium services is being able to control who can delete or move files around. So by check of the box, you can keep your information not only organized, but efficient. Now also inside of here, as a change is made to a document, anytime anybody hits save to something, we keep track of that for you. So if you see this contract over off to the right, there's a blue stack of papers. And when I click on that, it tells me who created that document, what time it was created, and I can also see every version of that going all the way back to the original file. This can help for a multitude of reasons. It gives you a nice overview and audit track of all of those changes that I've made, but also if someone makes a change that you just don't like on a file, instead of having to waste your time to go and try to recreate that, you can just grab what you like from the previous copy and restore it from there. Now, as far as accessing your information is concerned, there's basically 3 main ways to do that inside of ShareFile. There's the customized URL address, which means you can literally be at any computer, anywhere in the world, and always have access to your files and folders. But being that this is 2017, and especially in the real estate industry, you're on the go more than anybody else, we want to make sure that we utilize this from a mobile platform as well. So we work with iOS, Android, and Windows phones and tablets. And the great thing about this system is not only can you access your files and reference them, you can also create and edit Word, PowerPoint, or Excel documents right from your phone. Plus, you can make markups and annotations to PDFs. But really where I see this used the most in y'all's industry is with pictures and videos. It's the small things, those large files. You can be at a property, you can be at a site, you can take as many photos or as long as a video as you'd like, store it directly into the folder you're going to put it to anyway back in the office, but everybody else will automatically have access to that, and it's not going to take up any of the hard storage space on your phone. The third access point is actually a localized sync. If anybody's using Dropbox or Google Drive, you might be familiar with this, but it is ShareFile right here on your hard drive. So what this does is it puts a copy of ShareFile on your hard drive, so that way if the internet's out or if it's down, you can still access your files and folders, you can make changes to those files, and as soon as the internet kicks back in, that syncs back up with everybody else automatically. Plus, I find it really helps with adoptability as well. It's a very familiar place to know you're going to go and access your files. It's an easy place to save to, and it keeps everybody on the same page. Now, ShareFile in itself was primarily built just to do file sharing, but Citrix, being the virtualization pirates that we are, pioneers that we are, we've also included a feature on here called ShareConnect. So not only can you access your files and folders whenever and wherever you like, you can also access any of the programs that you have on your computer or somebody else's computer at a drop of a dime. ShareConnect works on your laptop, your desktop, your phone, and your tablet. And the best part about this system is any of the programs that you're going to work on from there, instead of having a clunky mirror image view that looks like you're obviously remoting into another system, it's all going to look native to the device that you're working on. So let's say I'm at the beach and I need to work on some QuickBooks files. I can pull up my tablet, I can go to my computer, I can click on QuickBooks, and it's going to look like QuickBooks is actually just an app on my tablet. So it really helps the mobilization aspect on there as well. Now, specifically when you're talking about large file sending or sensitive file sending, ShareFile does a great job at plugging into the two most commonly used email services right now, both Microsoft Outlook and Gmail. Just for time's sake, I'm going to go ahead and show you the Outlook plugin. And what this does is it makes sending large files, whether it's marketing material or due diligence files, it makes that a thing of the past, something you don't even have to think about. I can come right here to attach file. I can choose from anywhere on my computer. So whether or not it's already on my desktop or if it's on ShareFile, I could grab like a 67 megabyte video and I can attach it to an email. Now, all the recipient's going to have to do is click on this green button right here, and it takes them to a custom branded page where they can go preview that or download that file. They do not need to log into any systems. They don't have to use their username and password. They can if you want to implement that, but they don't have to. Now, if there's sensitive information also being typed in the body of the email, I can also encrypt the entire body of this message just by clicking on that little button right there. And again, because of ShareFile's ease of use, there are no usernames and passwords to log into that, but we are encrypting it through the channel where all the bad things happen. And this is a system that works on both Outlook and Gmail. Now, finally, the way the system works is we want to give you as much to do with your files and folders as you possibly can. So we also included electronic signatures in this. So any single document that you need to get signed off on or sign yourself, save it into ShareFile, right click, and you can either send out for signature or sign yourself. I'll quickly walk you through a send for signature process. So think of this as a closing contract or a lease agreement, really any type of document. So the first thing we're going to let you do is actually preview this page to make sure it's the right thing that you wanted to send out. If there's any additional files you might need to add, you can just add those through there. And we could condense it down to one PDF for you so you don't have to send it out in a separate step. Now you just need to type in the recipient's name. You can add as many signers to this as necessary, and you can set the order that they sign this in. So let's say Jeff Russell here is an attorney and needs to sign off on this document first. This is going to go to him first. Once he signs where he needs to sign, it's then going to work its way down that list. So you don't have to send it out 6 different times or have to sit there and just wait for somebody to respond back first. Now, the next step is really the most important step, and really what I also think is the easiest step. It's how you set it up for the electronic process. So we give you what are called requests over here on the right-hand side. You have a signature field, a text field, a date field, all the way down to collecting payment. So we really cover your grounds there. And all you have to do is highlight it and then place the box on the line you want it to go on. So the signature field goes on the signature line, so on and so forth. But the best part about the system is once you've done that once, any similar document you're going to send out in the future, you can come right here to import overlay, see the documents you've sent out in the past. So instead of having to drag and drop 37 initial fields just to get something signed, you can set it up right through there and then send out for signature. Now on their end, they're going to get an email that comes directly from you. So you'll see mine actually says Ryan Brown sent you a document to be signed. You can customize the subject line, but it's also coming directly from Ryan Brown. So it's not a third party or anything bombarding them that they're not familiar with. When they click on this, that's going to have their logo up in the top right-hand corner. You can fully customize the color scheme on this as well. But we're always going to give them a big blue button that says review and sign document. And all they need to do is click right there, and they're ready to get it done. So they don't need to print anything out. They don't have to scan a document back to you. They don't have to fax anything. They don't have to sign up for any services. They just follow that red flag right there and fill out everything that you require of them. Now notice in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a progress bar here. So they actually can't submit anything until everything I've required has been completed. So you don't have to worry about missed initial fields or date boxes or anything else that could clog up the process and have you to restart. Now in the signature portion of this, we're actually going to get their real signature. So if they're on their computer, they can use their mouse or scroll pad. If they're on their phone, they can use their finger or stylus, whatever's easiest for them. You can provide a type to sign option, but that's completely up to you. Now, once this is done, a couple of very important things are going to happen. First and foremost is they are going to get an email saying, hey, look, you've done your job. It's been completed. So they don't have to hold their breath and wait to hear back from you, knowing that they're ready to move forward. It's going to happen right in their inbox. They can view that document. They can print it out, whatever they need to do for their records. But we're also going to generate a unique certificate for this. And this certificate records the IP address at which it came from. It verifies the email address and audit timestamps everything. So it proves who signed it, when they signed it, and where they signed it. And because of this, we're actually endorsed by the American Bar Association. So it's a pretty big stamp of approval when it comes for legally binding signatures. Now, the sender will also get a copy of that directly in their inbox. But to keep everything organized and efficient, we're going to take that finalized and signed copy and automatically store itself right back into the filing cabinet for you. So you can see I have the original form and then the signed copy right through there. So from a functionality standpoint, that's basically the high-level overview of how ShareFile works. A couple of security features that I think are really important to note here. Everything that happens inside of ShareFile is fully audited and reported on. So from who's accessing what to when they're accessing it, you are able to come in here and run those reports as frequently or infrequently as you'd like. You can have them recurring or you can do it one at a time. All you have to do is click Create Report and you can choose what you want to see and then break it down from there. Now on top of that, a big issue is if somebody leaves the office and you're no longer working with them, you don't want them to have access to your company information anymore. You also don't want to have them putting you at risk there. So with this system, you're actually able to come in here. If someone leaves, you can actually delete them from the system, reassign any of the folders that they've created to somebody else so you don't lose that information, but they don't have access to it. So it protects you from there as well. Plus, just like we were talking about with top 3 data breaches, theft or lost devices can be a real issue. And if that happens, you can actually come in here, delete or revoke access or remotely wipe the device that it was located on. So if someone loses a phone or tablet, you don't have to panic. You can come in here and just wipe that information clean. And from a high-level perspective, that's basically it. So I think now is a good time to give the floor to you guys. If you have any questions at all, please let us know.
Thanks so much, Ryan. We did have a couple of questions come through, and I'll jump right into that. The first one asks, Is there any way I can migrate my data from an existing system such as Dropbox?
That's actually a great question. I can't believe I didn't cover that sooner. So most of our clients are moving from other systems like that, whether it's Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or a place already set up. So what we've done is we created connectors for you. And with these connectors, you're able to create connectors between Dropbox, Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, SharePoint. And what this enables you to do is move information over as you see fit and not lose any of the organization you've already set up. It works both ways directly through there.
All right. And then the next question asks, what happens to our data once it's inside ShareFile? Say down the road if we decide not to use the tool anymore.
Yeah, so that's a commonly asked question on our end during these demonstrations. And really the way this works is any information that's put on ShareFile by your office is owned by your office. We work on what's called zero knowledge. So if at any point in time you need to take that information off, we're not going to hold it ransom for you. We can actually we can help you move it to another system. We can even burn that to a disk and mail it to you through the mail. So bottom line is you own the information. We're never going to keep it away from you.
Okay, and great. And then the last question asks, can you explain how the initial setup process works with ShareFile?
Absolutely. So the great thing about ShareFile is right when you log in, there is a very, very well put together tutorial that sort of gets you familiar with the system and walks you through everything. On top of that, we also have help centers right through here. So there's a knowledge base, there are training videos, but most importantly, we also provide onboarding specialists. So these are one-on-one calls with our specialists on our end that will sit down, get to know the way you want this to work for your business, what you're looking to accomplish, and actually create a 30-day rollout plan to help you get that set up and set up effectively.
Okay, and we actually had one more come through. This person asks, how can I migrate a large amount of files from our server to ShareFile so that it does not take a long time or crash my computer?
That's a really good question. So outside of the connectors, we also have a piece on our backend called, believe it or not, the data migration tool. And with that, especially it works with hardware devices like a server or a hard drive, and it allows you to move multiple terabytes at a blink of an eye.
Okay, well, that was all we had for questions. Hopefully everybody's questions were answered. If not, please follow up with Ryan after the webinar. And I hope everyone today was able to learn more about ShareFile and our security and efficiency features through Ryan's presentation and demo today. You will be receiving an email with the recording in case you would like to view it again or share with your colleagues. I encourage you to reach out to Ryan with any additional questions you may have. Ryan, thank you so much for your expertise today, and thank you all for your participation. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.